I'm going to sit by your guy because he has a better seat than the rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom. A famous actor friend's Twitter profile reads, "I memorize other people's words and say them in funny ways or dramatical ways." I like his summation better than mine. I tend to explain it to people like this. Remember the make-believe game we all played in kindergarten called House? Well, I play house while reciting the words of others. That is what I do for a living. And the point is, upon having accepted the good rabbi's challenge to speak here tonight, I panic because I have nothing to say. I only know how to try to convince myself and then you of other people's thoughts. I have nothing to say, and I am not a good writer. So Rabbi suggests I speak about coming home to Memphis, to my family, to temple. I turn to friends, and one says, well, we Jews love questions, so just ask a lot of questions. Another friend pipes in, extrapolate upon the fact that we Jews are both all and one. We are a minyan, and we are also given this special direct line to God via the Shema, and Shmir is our code. I both have no idea what my friend means by any of this, and I am thoroughly impressed at the same time. I am not a good writer, and now I have not a good writer's block, so I researched the origins of the word Shmir, and extrapolating upon that term alone would take us more time than we have here tonight, proving it a worthy backup theme. And while I'm Googling Yiddish bagel toppings, I searched the definition of Rabbi's word home. This is what I find. Home. Number one, a place where one lives or where one was born or has lived for a long period. Two, the physical structure within which one lives. Three, a dwelling place together with the family or social unit that occupies it. Four, an environment offering security and happiness or a valued place regarded as a refuge or place of origin. Five, the place where something is discovered, a source. Home is a place where one lives or where one was born or has lived for a long period. Well, that would be Memphis, where my mother, my grandparents, aunts, and uncles still live, where I attended school, where I became a bat mitzvah, and where I grew into a young adult. Home is the physical structure within which one lives. Well, my own physical structure is in another city from which I have worked for 10 years, where the creation of my own nuclear family will take place. Home is a dwelling place together with the family or social unit that occupies it. I do always say that home is wherever my romantic partner in crime may be. Home is an environment offering security and happiness or a valued place regarded as a refuge or a place of origin. Well, isn't that convenient? I lost this, and I've been trying to find it again. I could extrapolate on an environment offering security and happiness or a valued place regarded as a refuge or place of origin, if only I could figure out how to write myself there. Home is the place where something is discovered, a source. Whoa. I'm not good at writing, and I think about taking a creative writing class just so I can write this speech. But I like my friend's idea about just asking questions because it requires less effort than a creative writing class, and I can be really lazy. So just ask questions. Just ask a lot of questions. Questions. This reminds me of something. Once upon a time, in the aforementioned physical structure within which one lives, in my other city on the West Coast, I was listening to the soundtrack of Fiddler on the Roof, and I impulsively decided to throw a last-minute Hanukkah party. I hadn't ever thought about the fact that almost all of the friends I have made as an adult are Jewish, and I didn't realize this until I didn't have to explain dreidel to them. And upon my voicing this epiphany, someone posed a question. Now, this is a question that, when searched on Amazon.com, answers with 31,739 book titles. A guest eating my kind of bland latkes queried, but what is a Jew? So we went around the table and compared our Jewishness. One BFF's parents are Jewish. She does not believe in God, and she has never stepped foot in a synagogue. But she loves a good Seder and believes that all of her extra time should be spent doing good things for the less fortunate. Another BFF's parents are Jewish, and she lives by the spirituality and morality that she learned in the religious school of her youth. But she has no relationship with tradition or any Jewish community. This went on and on around the table until we got to me. I was super Jew. My mother is Jewish. We celebrated the holidays. I went to religious school. I was a bat mitzvah. I went to the Memphis JCC summer camp and Jacobs camp. I designed the Softy t-shirt in 1993. I loved me some community service. I was a Krieger junkie, BBYO secretary. I went to Temple Youth Group gatherings on Wednesday nights. I was confirmed, and what's more, it meant everything to me. It meant so much to me that I didn't want a bat mitzvah before I felt mature enough to be a good example of Jewish womanhood. The language of my values, goals, and actions were a Jewish language. The very way I loved was Jewish. Rituals and traditions connected me not just to my family, but a family of millions and millennia. I saw God. I saw God in the spark between people. As Martin Buber, the great Jewish philosopher, philosophized, when two people relate to each other authentically and humanly, God is the electricity that surges between them. I saw God that way. Now, I said I was super Jew. And then I up and left Judaism for a very long time. And I mean it. I left. I'm going to leave the whys of my departure in that quicksand swamp called Why Do We Do Anything? Suffice it to say that my late teen years were a morass, and instead of seeking solid ground, instead of running to any definition of home, I took to the air. I flew from Memphis, that place where one lives or where one was born or has lived for a long period. And I flew from Temple, Israel. I wrote myself here. An environment offering security and happiness, or a valued place regarded as a refuge or place of origin. And I flew from my faith. I walked out of Judaism. I walked out on Judaism just as consciously as I bought a plane ticket out of Memphis, and my flight took me very far away. Then I was this new, alone thing, a nomad in the world. I was homeless. I could define homelessness all by myself without the internet, and I was homeless. We Jews love questions. Well, I needed answers. I was homeless, and I didn't like being homeless, so I went home shopping. I learned everything about everything. I was 100% sure that my feelings of homelessness would be assuaged by a faith of answers, promises, and perhaps a little less responsibility. I was 100% sure that, yes, I was supposed to be of some other faith. In the South Park version of my abandonment, I had divorced Judaism and was seen with something much younger in an embarrassing red sports car. But alas, no. Then there was nothing. For 10 years, there was nothing. Now, nothingness is defined as the absence of existence. My favorite philosopher, the father of modern philosophy, René Descartes, said, "I think, therefore I am." Well, when you are nothing, you do not think. When there is no ritual, tradition, or community to remind you to think, there is an absence of faith. And where there's an absence of faith, a nothingness of faith, a black hole of faith, you don't miss faith because you don't even remember there was something called a spark. It had been really a very long time. Once upon a time, in the aforementioned physical structure within which one lives, in my other city on the West Coast, the subject of a mezuzah arose. It had come with the house, and I wanted it to stay. It reminded me of something. And my boyfriend at the time didn't see the point. He said of himself, "I am not Jewish." I said, "I think you would still love all that it stands for, and it's already here." He said, "But this is not a Jewish house." It had been really a very long time. And then there was this question of my now seemingly ironic Hanukkah brisket, and the brisket was killer, by the way. But what is a Jew? I was a Jew, but I am not now a Jew, I said. Not really. I had done everything you aren't supposed to do in Judaism. I ceased doing any of the things you are supposed to do, and doing in Judaism is everything. I had broken my covenant. The only thing Jewish about me was that I felt guilty. I knew I must have lost the privilege of being Jewish, just as someone who neglects her spouse and drives off in an embarrassing red sports car probably loses her spouse. Someone at the dinner party posed. And so this nuclear family that you will create, your future completely hypothetical children, will your children be nothing? Of course my children will not be nothing. They will be Jewish.